you tell if you're successful in your career, in your chosen field of expertise? There are many ways to find out as a travel professional, and one of them we'll talk about today is something called GTM, Global Travel Marketplace, a gathering of top sellers, suppliers, and tourism authorities around the world. And our little travel agency was amongst them again at this year's flagship GTM. We'll talk about it on today's podcast, along with other ways to know you succeed, ones we think are even more important.
You're watching 3D TravelCast with Sandy, Wendy, and CB. We'd love for you to click subscribe and join us weekly as we deep dive into adventures, people, food, and fun all over the world.
I was selected to attend GTM as a representative of our agency for the first time 5 years ago. It was my first time, and it's a very intense experience. And I'm about to go for my second time tomorrow. So by the time you listen to this, I will have just gotten back. It's short and intense. I'm excited to tell you guys about it today. So are y'all curious about it a little bit, or does it just sound overwhelming?
No, it sounds overwhelming, but it sounds like such a quick wealth of knowledge. You would need a notebook, something to record, something to take notes out of all of this stuff. Because we've seen you do it before, but it's
the one-to-one meetings and all that immersion.
Right. It's a lot.
How about you, Wendy? You curious too?
Oh, I think it sounds really exciting. I would love a chance to be able to talk to all of the representatives,
all those people,
and learn so much. So it sounds really exciting to me.
I do. I feel like it's something that you will end up wanting to go to someday, Wendy. When you Wendy has no time right now, so she has. Yeah, that is this. We don't need to add anything to Wendy's list of things to do. But I two things that I think are super fun when you think about GTM. One is they give you something, they call it the GTM Bible. It's just what you were talking about, Sandy. It is a book. It's always the blue color that they use, which is kind of an oceany color. And every single person who's there, so like I will have an entry in there with place to put notes. So if someone meets with me, a supplier meets with me, or another owner or advisor meets with me, you can make notes next to that person's face. So it has a picture of us, it has who we are, it has our little bio, and the same thing with suppliers. It's because you are because you're not just meeting with vendors, you're also meeting with tourism authorities from around the world. You're also meeting with other agency owners. And, I've had incredible experiences come out of that as well. So it's a lot, but it's exciting to go do it 5 years after I've done it the first time, because it's my pre-COVID experience and my post-COVID experience. And just as an agency, when I first did it, all of us really were just new at so many parts of the world. Not necessarily visiting, but because some people had been to a lot of, if you take all of us, we've covered most of the earth that's possible to travel on a vacation, but it's a totally different thing trying to find someone who's reputable, integrity, and will take good care of our clients. Right. So that was a newer thing for us. And now I got my list of people that I'm going to meet with, and I went, some of them I know personally. Some of them I know where the problem areas are. I know where the good things are. So it was a very different experience. So I felt more successful, just not by being accepted, but just by feeling like I knew what the heck I'm looking for. Like I feel like it'll be easier for us to take this experience and help us build our repertoire of knowledge and expertise for our clients. Absolutely. In new ways. So it's pretty fun. And it is, like I said, it's intense. They start us out at something like 7 a.m. and finish at like 10, 11 at night. Right. And you never stop listening to information. So it is a lot. My appointments I have countless appointments with vendors, like 60 something, and they come to my table, which I'm supposed to decorate in some way to show people that it's me. So I'll share a picture of that. And then they come to my table, but it's a 6-minute meeting.
Oh my gosh.
So 6 minutes, then boom,
timer?
6 minutes. There's a timer in the room that counts down, and there's a noise that tells them to get up and move to the next table. And I think you have something like 30 seconds or something like that to do it.
Speed dating. Yeah. I love it.
It is.
It's really cool.
Then you also have a boardroom, and you go to the boardroom, and that's like, I think there's 12 of us. So we've already met already. Everybody's already interacted, and that's our boardroom. And then they come and they do longer presentations. And then but then you're like as a group, you get to just group think and talk to different people. So like when I went last time, G Adventures came and gave us all a cape.
Oh, there.
And then we went out on our balcony with our cape and, stood like superheroes, and they took a picture because, we were the superheroes of travel. So unique experiences like that was fun. So another vendor brought us champagne and fruit, and we all sipped champagne while they told us about what they were selling. So unique. And then there's the big experiences, which is when one of my moments, so over lunch, then we had Israel. So a whole bunch of people came from the tourism authority, and I am meeting with them, Wendy. I know you're excited. We're definitely building our business yes. And they served us food from Israel, and they did a presentation. And the three of us, if anybody's listened for longer than 2 seconds, deeply love Jesus Christ. And we approach him
Absolutely.
as Catholics and Protestants. But what we have in common is just a penetrating faith. So to be able to walk that out in Israel, Wendy has been, I have not been, and Sandy has not been yet, but we will be.
That's right.
But I didn't realize, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I didn't realize how amazing it would be to go and experience that and have that. So, but that's one sign of success, is that you get to go to something that amazing and you get to experience it and learn how to utilize it well. But that's such a small thing compared to the other things that we're going to talk about today. So I'm mostly excited about what you guys are going to introduce to us. And I think you're up next, Sandy, right?
I am. I wanted to talk about success within your community and within your community of peers, not just necessarily the other people that live in your town, but your peers, your fellow travel advisors, your team members, other travel professionals. And how can you tell you've made it? How can you tell you feel successful? And one big way that I've found is when other team members feel like I have something to contribute, when they're like, when they're in a situation with a client and they think to themselves, who would know is Sandy, because she's either dealt with it or she's researched it or she leads that area or whatever it is. So when someone comes to me and they're asking me a question, I know I've done something right, and I know I've found success in at least that little piece of travel. Another way that 3D has shown me I'm slightly successful, I feel, is that I am, and Wendy has been on this as well, is a mentor, meaning we're fostering the new wave of travel advisors at 3D, and we're teaching them and walking them through their first however many clients as they go through the door to become a travel professional too. But I just find it so satisfactory that someone's going to ask me a question. Somebody's going to think, well, Sandy knows. Sandy has been there. Sandy has done that. And that is a sign of success for me. Wendy, do you?
Because it's not just what you know. I do want to ask Wendy too, but I just want to say it's not just what you know. It's also that you are a safe person to ask that question.
That makes
that you
sense.
are going to encourage and not make people feel dumb, because it's so often. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is not. People apologize for not knowing everything all at once. You don't have to know everything all at once. No. So you obviously continually provide a safe place for them to ask that. So that's no small thing. That is a big sign of success.
I feel like the other thing too is also, yes, we may know some of the, obviously we're not going to know everything, but we know where to find the answer as well. So that's another sign of success within your industry is, while you may not know the immediate answer, you absolutely know where to go find that answer. And that's a big deal.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with everything that you said, Sandy, that it does, when someone asks you your thoughts and your opinions, it makes you understand, oh, they see me as successful in this industry. And so that's awesome and great.
It is. It's uplifting, and it's inspiring for me to go and learn more, so that I can continue to have that what is seen as a level of expertise. And that's really the goal, is we want our clients to know that we're an expert. So not only am I helping clients, I'm helping other agents who are experiencing things outside of the norm, because that tends to be when they're coming to ask Wendy questions or me questions, or some of the more experienced agents. So we've experienced the outside of the norm. We've experienced the hiccups and the how do we deal with the flight delays and getting our clients transfers wherever they need to go. So it is kind of great to know that I can be that for someone else as well. I love it.
Well, I think that just a true testament to you guys and the rest of the people who mentor and lead, or even the ones who, we have people who are leaders in our company who don't have the official leadership title, but they lead because of their willingness to give and share.
Yes.
There is something truly inspiring and magical about that. Not just when you're talking to each other in the agency, but also when you go out to FAMs and experiences out in the world. I love meeting people that you've met. I love when another owner says, hey, one of your advisors met one of my advisors on a FAM. Is it okay with you if they, connect and stuff? I said, yes, it's absolutely okay with me. That's great. Because I know that y'all feed off that too. Expanding your scope of knowledge and ability to give and receive. It's no small thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
The other, like you were just, networking is a big thing too. I find that the bigger your network, the more you're able to be an expert in your field. So Carol Beth, you have given us, I feel like, a great network that we can grow from, and we have as an agency.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that often, and I'll say this to any owners who might listen, because I know we have a few, being threatened by your team members connecting and intersecting and enjoying things from other agencies. If they're healthy and your environment's healthy and even the other environments are relatively healthy, sometimes you're going to look behind the curtain and things are going to be bad, but then you'll find people who are willing to learn from that. And if you guys are out in the world and you learn something that is a better choice than what we're making where we are, it shouldn't be a threat for y'all to come back and say, hey, they've got this, they're doing better than this. It's amazing how much we can all grow as people in any industry by just being willing to humble yourself and admit that you could have something wrong. And so then you're willing to learn from it. It's awesome. And I see that with everybody in our group.
You are describing one person in our group more than some others, more than me, I know, and that is Wendy.
Oh,
Wendy is huge at that. I find, well, that's part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, right? Because Wendy went and saw that this was a thing, and she came and she said, this is what we need to do. And look, she was a fan. And I find Wendy is so good at that. She sees something that someone is doing differently. And she's like, well, I think we could do that too, or we could do it better, or we could do it this way. And I love that about Wendy. So Wendy has got some great success in that.
Wendy's a disruptor. You know that about yourself, right, Wendy?
I
but
do.
in a good way.
Yeah.
I had to tell everyone at the retreat, I'm like, I'm always the one that seems to have to go to Carol Beth and say, hey,
yes,
we're talking. And
yeah, sometimes I can tell you've been dispatched, and sometimes I can tell it's you, and sometimes I have to ask. But yeah, she's a total disruptor, and it's the joke around our house that is like, I go, okay, so we're looking at something. We may need to make a change. And Hannah, my assistant, and my daughter, who was on the podcast about Antigua, she'll giggle and say, was it Wendy? It's funny that like Wendy. 3 out of 4 times it is. So yeah, so there you go. But I do think that that's a sign of success, because if you're so tight about who you are and what you have to give and what you can learn, then you just put yourself in this little bubble and you can't grow. So I love that we're able to do that. It's good stuff. Whoa, I feel like we kind of turned on you, Wendy. Are you okay?
Sorry, Wendy.
yeah, I'm good. I'm okay.
I had to call it out when the whole time you were saying that, Carol Beth. It was all, I kept hearing Wendy in my head. I did. I just heard the voice of Wendy, so I had to call that out.
I like it. That's awesome.
So funny. Well, another great way that we can measure success is from our clients. And it's the reoccurring clients that we get, the repeat clients, and the referrals. To me, that right there, that's the biggest sign of success to me in the travel industry. It is such an honor and a privilege, first of all, to plan someone's vacation, that they're allowing you into that little portion of their life for that time period, and that you get to help them is such a huge privilege for us. And for them to send other people our way says, oh, wow, I really liked working with you, and I think that you are really good at what you do. So to me, that is the biggest
Yeah.
sign that you are successful when you have those situations. And when we get a little involved and emotionally too, and we
Yeah.
really connect with these families. You know, I have clients that I I've watched their kids grow up, and I just get all teary-eyed when I see them graduating from high
Yeah.
school or college or doing whatever, getting their first job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just feel like that they're such a big part of my life, and I count that as success, that they're not just someone who comes to me, I plan a vacation and off they go, and I don't want anything to do with them after that. That's not how
Yeah.
we operate at 3D. You know,
No.
we really care for our clients, and the fact that they will actually send someone back to, and that they come back and book trips with us, to me, in the travel industry, there's no greater success model than that. I don't care if it's $1 million sales or what.
Right.
To me, it's when they step back through that door and say, hey, I'm thinking about this, what do you think? That's success.
Absolutely. And I think
I think,
looping back to, sorry, Sandy, you go first. I'll
no,
go
you're good.
second.
No, it's okay. I was just going to mention that you're 100% right, but I find it just that much more special when they come back and you have watched them grow, and then you're planning the senior trip.
Oh,
And then a couple
Yes.
of years later, it's the honeymoon, or it's
Yes.
the baby moon, or it's the destination wedding, because these are huge milestones.
Yeah.
And you're being allowed in there. You've got this privilege of helping that senior trip happen, or the two honeymooners, I guess multiple honeymooners I've had in the past couple of weeks come back, and I got to be a little piece of that, and I got to help with this surprise for this one. And so it's the word of mouth, and it's the referral, but then not only are you helping with regular vacations, but then you get these extra special ones. And if they're allowing you to help with something that important and that impactful in their lives, that is a huge measure of success right there.
I love
Yes.
that. So true. I think people coming into this business realize that, Sandy, that they're going to get to experience that long journey with people when they make that
Yes.
first magical trip planning with them. I was just going to say that what you were talking about, Wendy, about the client experience, and because we're circling back to as a measure of success. I think if someone, which by saying that, I mean like someone looking from the outside in and saying, oh, they're successful because I observed this. And we started with GTM because to qualify for GTM as an agency owner, there has to be, I don't know how many millions in sales, but you have to do that, right? And which still seems surreal to me that we have an agency that's every year grows and how many millions in sales. Like, that's insane. That's got to be somebody else's life. But that is a measurement. And a lot of times we get lost in that focus. And did I make my 4 bookings this month? Do I have enough things? Do I have to do it? But the reality is that if any of us, the 3 of us, and the people who bother to listen to us because they must align with what we feel and think in this way, they're going to measure success by they're good at relationships. They learn from criticism. They learn from making mistakes. And ultimately, they build long relationships with their clientele. And that's a measurement of success. Whether you have 10 clients that you have just succeeded in enriching their lives by planning their trips and making them feel secure. But also, maybe none of them have turned into the loud person that tells all their friends and family about it yet. So your business hasn't grown, because that's really how it grows, right?
It is.
You
Yes,
find
you
the
get those
loud
Pied
people.
Pipers.
If you're listening and you're a client of any of our agents, be loud, or anybody, not just us, just anyone. Be loud about your hairdresser. Be loud about everybody that's trying to build a living by doing services, and you'll help them build their business. But that doesn't mean that the person who just happens to have maybe more extroverted clientele who's helping them grow their business faster is better at it. Like, right? So I love the idea of a 3-pronged approach to success, and that this is how we define it. It's good stuff. That's good stuff.
It is. Are we closing?
Yeah. Yes. You're the one who's supposed to. Is it my line?
I'm like,
yes.
I'm just
yeah.
sit here.
Yes,
That's right.
we
Whose
are.
line is
Yeah,
it
yeah,
anyway?
yeah. I think so.
So I think you just told me what my favorite thing about this episode was that, yeah, you can measure success in numbers. You absolutely can. But there's so much more to it. I measure it in the fact that I do get to answer other people's. I'm a natural teacher. It's what I do. I love to teach things. And so if someone comes to me, I love my weeks on duty as mentor of the week, so that I get to impart that knowledge. That is a successful thing, is I'm helping other people become that as well. And then of course Wendy just took the words right out of my mouth with how we get invited into these special times with clients, and it's just great.
That's so good.
Yeah, I would say the same, Sandy. I mean, what I loved about us talking about this is just reminders. I had, I'm sure you do too, of clients popping in your head throughout the whole episode, and reliving those moments that were so special to them and to you. So, yeah.
Anytime there's a reminder to me of the blessings of what I have, of this journey I get to walk through, it's incredible. I always say that we sell something that we could be selling dishwashers and be really good at that. And then we'd have the fanciest dishwasher on the block, but we don't. We sell travel, and so that's already great. But the fact that we get to do it and enrich people's lives in this way and lean on each other and grow as people, this is just one more reminder of what that looks like, a little bit behind the scenes. And it's good stuff, guys. And I'm just going to notice out loud that I did not cry. I did some preliminary crying before the episode so that I could prepare. I think you're supposed to supposed to take us out, Sandy.
Well, I'm going to, before Carol Beth cries. So from Sandy, Wendy, and Carol Beth at 3D TravelCast. Until next time.